Today's episode of The Worst Movie Ever Made is brought to you by our recurring sponsor, Microwave Hot Dogs at 3 a.m. You've heard about the meat. You'll hear the word on the street later today's show.
Hello and welcome to The Worst Movie Ever Made, an experimental movie podcast designed with one thing in mind, to find the worst movie ever made. I'm your host, Chris Ackman. I'm joined by my co-host and fellow mad scientists, Rob Scucci and Bob Hessig. Hey guys, how are you? And by the way, I have John Voight winking at me as I put him in the microwave as we speak.
Nice.
In my head.
Feeling pretty good. I want to go on a short rant, but it's very pertinent to this movie. Have you guys read Catcher in the Rye, or you're familiar with it? I don't expect.
Of course.
It's a
Familiar.
classic. I read it. I read it 3 times, and here's why I read it 3 times. You read it when you're like coming of age, and it's like this profound thing that you relate to because like it's this kid going through similar struggles that you're going through, and then you turn 25, 26. You get married. You get different jobs, careers. You have some good luck, bad luck. Like life happens to you. Stuff happens. And you read that book again, going, "That was pretty good." And you're like, this kid's a whiny little shit. He just complains. There's nothing good about him. He's a spoiled little brat going to college for free. Can't deal with it. And then you read it again when you have kids of your own, like you're 30, 35, and you have your own kids you're reading. You're like, all right, this kid is actually severely depressed and probably needs some mental help. But what I'm saying is, when you read this book, there's a time and place for this book to resonate with you. Whether it's in your youth or in adulthood, there might be interim periods where you don't relate to it and you think it's just not good just based on what's going on in your own life. There is not one scenario or timeline or like form of being that I could be in where I could find myself enjoying Hellraiser.
All of that.
Yeah,
that was a lot of preambles.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that preamble quite a bit. Well said, Rob. Bob, how you doing today?
I think Rob is now done talking for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah.
So this is generally seen as a classic in the horror genre, and I've never understood it. And so I'm using this platform, this podcast, to tell the world, or really anyone that'll listen, to hear that it is not good.
Yeah.
Well, you must be thrilled, Bob, that we unanimously agreed to just put it up to the pod instead of polling it.
Yeah.
Right, because it's so hugely popular that I thought you guys would be like, no, it must be somewhat have redeeming quality, but it doesn't.
I thought, and I think I said this last week, but I thought I was going to be real spooked out by this one. My whole life, I kind of avoided Hellraiser because for some reason
Pinhead was creepy. Pinhead is creepy.
Yeah, just the whole the
blue light.
More of the movie would be people being tortured by the what are I know now are Cenobites, but the weird looking things that exist in another dimension that come through to torture you, kind of at your bidding.
Yeah, it's like cock and ball torture. Like you're into it, but it hurts.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll talk more about that. Why don't we just throw it to some YouTube comments for now?
I'm gonna breeze through these, but they're mostly favorable. I remember when this came out, I was 12. It was simply the most insanely terrifying thing that I could imagine seeing. No way was I gonna see that, but I had a girlfriend, same age, who went to see it in theaters on the big screen with her mom. I was truly in awe. None of that information was relevant. Next comment. A powerful classic of terror in his purest form that has terrified generations for decades, full of nightmarish moments and bloody samples of horror, a eternally masterpiece of his genre.
Yes, well said.
There have been many horror movies over the years, but this one is one of the few that is genuinely frightening and disturbing. It's in the same class as The Exorcist in terms of being extreme. After you see it, you are not sure if you ever want to see it again because it's so intense. It's fucking bullshit. Best horror movie I've ever seen, hands down. And 80s movies always seem to have more trailers than today's entire films. but they had an ability to make you want to see the movie. The effects, the music, visuals, everything was so much better back in the day. No, it wasn't. We've been over this.
Okay. Rob, you know what that YouTube section did for me is they made me feel compelled, so to speak, to to push The Exorcist as our good movie pod for the end of the season.
I'm down.
Ooh, how soon is the end of the season?
That's the question. Is it going to be mid-November when we start?
No, I think it's like the first week of November. It's
all right. Then yeah, let's do it.
Okay, that sounds good to me because I think it's fantastic. I don't know.
It's amazing. It's fucking amazing.
And to hear it spewed in the same
regard
genre, in the same regard as Hellraiser, that's a good word for it, made me almost vomit that battery acid, like swallow it back down real quick, kind of stomach shit. That, you know, that what's her face? The girl, Megan, what's her name?
Sure.
From The Exorcist, spews all over the priest.
The pea soup.
Like that's what was coming out of me when I heard that comment. Those two are not in this. Hellraiser, Exorcist, not in the same conversation. They are now, but for reasons. You know what is in the same conversation as Hellraiser? All of these 5 movies in test number 1, the worst of its kind.
Is this film the best of the worst or the worst of its kind?
Okay, good transition. Very clunky dialogue beforehand, Chris. Get on your game. Starting with Candyman, Tony Todd.
Yes.
How do you think that did?
I never saw it, but favorable.
You never saw it? It's got to be in the 70s.
It is in the 70s.
I've seen The Lawnmower Man.
Oh, shame on you.
79, Bob.
Okay.
Good call.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Almost in the 80s. A movie called Reanimator with Jeffrey Combs.
No.
Oh, one of my favorites. We got to watch that just for fun.
Okay. I've heard good things about it, and that is bolstered by the 94 it got on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Amazing practical effects.
Okay. Excellent. Evil Dead 2, Bruce Campbell. Another big hitter.
This is my wheelhouse.
These Evil Dead, like because the first one was intended to be scary, but ended up being funny, and then they kind of ran with it. And I think they hit it out of the park every time. So probably like a 90.
It's gotta
95.
be high.
All right.
Yeah, it's got to be high.
Holy moly. Army of Darkness. Embeth Davids.
98.
Army of Darkness. That's an Evil Dead 3.
Yeah, essentially. Coming in with a 75, another strong score.
Okay.
And Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis.
The first one.
Yes, a 96.
That was a good.
Heavy hitters abound. What is average?
That was a good slasher. For the time it came out for $100,000 budget. That was a good film.
It was really scary. It was really scary for how it was filmed. I agree.
Yeah, there's so much tension in that end scene when she's in the closet.
Yeah.
My God.
Even the opening scenes, I agree.
Yeah, sure. 96 if I hadn't said it before. An average of 87.8%.
Oh, shit.
Is among our highest ever recorded. What did Hellraiser come in with this week?
I want to guess 63. Is it in the same realm as like Salt Lake City Punk, where like it's not a great score, but people either like lionize it or just fucking despise it.
I feel like critics are gonna lower this score, so 37.
Man, I think it deserves a 37 or less. Rob is more on the money here. A 70.
Oh shit!
This movie got a 70 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Bullshit.
Making my confidence in Rotten Tomatoes much lower than it was before this week at negative 17.8 and the worst of its kind. It deserves to be the worst of its kind, but man, I wish that score was a little stronger because I want it to lose every week from now on because I hate this movie.
I blame Rob.
Me too. Rob.
What did I do? What did I do?
Test number 2, Limericks Forever. Ain't that a pitch?
I got an idea for a movie, and here's my pitch. I get a job and quit my band, and you stop being a bitch. Ain't that a bitch?
Bob said he wanted to go last, right? Is that true?
I
Yeah,
think he
'cause
deserves it.
I keep going first or second.
All right,
So yeah, I'll go last.
Chris,
I
you want to
think
go
he
first?
deserves it, not just because he hasn't, but because this is kind of his idea. This movie.
Okay. So, Chris, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
It doesn't matter to me, buddy.
Let me get it out of the way.
All right.
There was a man named Pinhead on this thrill ride who had a total 4 minutes of screen time. Weird, chattery flesh man and that big-headed flim flam want pussy to transport through space-time.
Yeah, nice. Here we go. Raising hell is a dangerous thing to do. Cenobites might make you suffer and spew. Want the guy on the title? You're going to wait for a while. Cheers to Frank. We're all suffering with you.
Good. That's fair.
I only wanted to go last because I rhymed Cenobites. Okay, here we go.
Wow.
There once were some slow-moving Cenobites brought about by a box and some candlelight. Lots of practical gore, and sadly, not much more. What a waste of 1.37 gigabytes.
Yeah,
That was
fair.
really good.
I think Bob wins on this one. And
I'm going Bob again, but what's this star grade from you, Rob?
solid 4.
I'll go 4 as well. I really enjoyed that. This is bad, though, because Hellraiser is getting scores that are not going to win.
It's because the pitch is confusing because, like,
Hey. It's science.
it's science. Well, science is confusing, Chris. It's because the good pitch is funny because it's making fun of the bad movie. So you want to give the inherently bad thing a high score. So that's the wild card.
Are you saying that we've been reading the machine backwards?
No, I'm just saying it's a good wild card because, like, if it
I say
outranks
okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say we should just reverse it on because I hate this movie so much.
Okay, yeah. So that's a 1 then, a 1 star.
Reverse.
No, it's still a 4. It's still a 4, but the better the pitch, the worse the movie must be.
Okay. So
Because
if it wins,
it
it
was
loses.
easier for us to make fun of.
So
Yes.
so if it wins, it loses.
If it wins, it loses. Then goodbye confusion. Right?
Mid-season,
right?
let's
There's
do
no
it.
confusion now. Confusion
Why not?
eliminated.
Yeah, why not? Seriously, why not?
Okay, Bob, 4-star. Excellent. That'll definitely help us with making Hellraiser the worst of the season, which it ought to be. I hated it more than Anaconda, if you can believe it. Let's see how it fares in test number 3, the worst dialogue.
Dialogue.
Some bullshit.
I just deleted my Anaconda button before this show was about to.
Too bad.
Well, you
Okay,
got to bring
I'm
it back for the comparison.
I will.
You could, yeah.
Don't worry. I will.
I've been toying with making less than 10 so that we can do more fun stuff because 10 is a lot. But this movie may deserve all 10. For
Next
sure.
season.
Sure, that sounds good to me. The problem is that we do the 7, the 3, and the 1 clip.
Mhm.
I don't want it to become another like acting stands on its own because it's all clips.
Yeah.
I don't want dialogue to be all clips as well. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is kind of we're talking shop and we shouldn't be. Number 10. Some dinner guest, right, asks Larry how his hand is doing after he hit it on a nail moving the mattress, right?
Mhm.
She says, "Does your hand still hurt?" And Larry says, "No, only when I drink." To the laughter of a couple. What did that mean?
Non sequitur? I don't know.
It was horrible.
Horrible line. That's nearly number 10. Larry again. Just towards the beginning of the movie. The phone rings in the house, and Larry, startled, goes, "What the hell is that?" to the sound of a phone.
Yeah.
Larry once more. "You can't leave," to his party guests. "This is the night of the paper hat here." What does that mean?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Okay, I thought one of you might have looked this
Like
up.
they're gonna make
I thought about looking.
Were they gonna make like sailor hats out of like old newspaper or something and like put in a row around the table?
I did a lot of looking up, but that was one thing I did not look up.
Okay, yeah, I should have looked it up myself. The Night of the Paper Hat. Never heard that expression. I hadn't before or since. Let's throw it to our first clip of the night. This one's called Frank.
Bear with me 1 second.
Sure.
What happened was something really stupid. This can go on the bingo card. We are a professional.
Come to daddy. Daddy.
It's Frank. You remember? It's Uncle Frank. Frank.
Are you alright?
I didn't catch the delay trails until I was wearing the good headphones just now. Like, daddy, daddy, daddy.
No, Uncle Frank.
Come to daddy. Well, there you go. That was our more for the YouTube audience clip of the night. Still totally ridiculous, but check out the clip on YouTube. It's in my estimation, it's made for TV production value, and to me, it's just really funny.
Yeah.
Number 6 is Pinhead. Believe it or not, he had a line that made it, and only because he said pain and pleasure indivisible. One, looks like just pain to me, and 2, they're definitely divisible in my mind.
Yeah.
I was curious to find out like how it was that these two were married in this movie. It's a creepy concept for me, like wanting it and hating it all together at once.
Right.
But they didn't do anything but make it look like something I would never ever want. I wouldn't mess with that Rubik's cube that like summons demons from another dimension ever.
Yeah.
Personally.
No.
And they didn't do anything to change my mind. Had they bridged that subject for me, I would have been very impressed. But they didn't do any of that. It just looked like Dave Navarro on the set of a Ink Masters finale where he's dangling from hooks in front of an audience, and
The
to me, that's
suspense
not
you've
something I
been,
ever wanted.
yeah, and he says this is the suspense you've been waiting for because he's like suspended.
Yes, he did. He really did.
Yeah.
Right.
I seen it.
He threw out that what a joke, dude. That got me rolling.
Yeah.
Number 5, Julia, and she's talking to Frank, skinless homeless Frank, just like those skinless homeless zombies in Judge Dredd, and the skinless homeless guy in Cabin Fever. We just happen to get a lot of skinless homeless guys.
Yeah.
Julia says the Cenobites will never find us, not in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
So she doesn't know what they are, who they are, where they're from, anything about them, but she's sure that, if she flees the country with him, they will never be able to track them down.
That's just the maternal instinct to make them feel safe.
Well, I guess I hadn't considered that.
Is that it?
No.
Mm.
No.
No. Okay, good.
Okay, the British guy, the second stranger to come into the house with her?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, completely out of nowhere. Like, completely random line. He's, like, walking up the stairs with her, and he goes, I get lonely sometimes.
Yeah.
Not what I say when I'm trying to get laid. I don't know about you guys.
No.
It's been a while, but I have a feeling that would not be my 10th line, at least.
Yeah.
Right. We're walking up to bed, and there's a line I throw out with hopes of baiting my wife.
Yeah.
Another clip. This one's called Table Talk. Here's where it's really going to take off for you.
I was afraid you were going to sue it.
I should do it. Bill, I should do it. You know all about that stuff. I'll call you tomorrow. We'll sue his ass.
Doctors.
That's okay. And what's my darling daughter drinking?
I don't remember.
Oh, listen, Julie, let's move on.
No more for me, thanks. Okay. Okay, stop. I'm not gonna be able to stand up.
So lie down.
See, when I'm on like a first date and meeting the dad, the first thing I want to do is implicate I'm raw dogging his daughter the second we leave the dinner table.
Right. While she's passed out because you fed her as much Majorska as you could at the dinner table in front of her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely outrageous. But the highlight for me in that clip was when the woman goes, "Doctors."
She's not wrong, but yeah.
Number 2. This is a combined dialogue. I haven't done this in a while, but to squeeze it between 3 and 2, I had to. Frank says, "Christy, it's Frank. It's Uncle Frank. Come to Daddy." And then a minute later, he says, "One last time, give me that box."
Yeah.
I know what he's talking about, but the sexual undertones of this movie made it so that. All right, I'm going to stop there and leave it for later in the movie podcast because it's just remember I said that as we throw it to the best. The drum roll, please. Let's go for some brandy.
You want a cookie, little girl?
I'm feeling sick.
Oh, babe. Is there anything I can get you?
Maybe a brandy?
It's coming right up.
I'll be down in a minute.
Okay. There's no hurry.
What is funny? What is funny about pretending to be a child molester?
Want a cookie, little girl?
I was so thoroughly confused by that. I had to get your reaction. What the fuck did you think when he said that? What was he going for?
Maybe there was like a commercial he was like quoting, like a pop culture reference.
Wow,
There was no maybe. That
the
was
70s
bad.
advertising was unhinged. So I mean, who knows?
Yeah, but not to that degree. It was more psychedelic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, did we lose Bob?
Uh-oh.
No, it looks that way.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, we'll have to get his thoughts when he reconvenes.
Okay.
Still, I thought that was super molesty. Is that a word?
It was. It is. I think if like you were in that situation, I wouldn't want somebody touching
My anaconda!
No, definitely not. The reverse is true. Whatever a woman's anaconda is.
Yeah.
Her fallopian tubes. She's got dual anacondas going inside.
Dual anacondas.
You know what's not good about this is that Bob is in control of our next segment. So why don't we throw it to your ad read?
Sure. Speaking of skinless Franks, today's episode of The Worst Movie Ever Made is brought to you by our good friends at Microwaved Hot Dogs at 3 a.m. We told you about the meat, now let's take the reviews to the street. These are real reviews from real people. Truth is, you can't pay for publicity this good. Dave from Kansas City has this to say. When Shoshana left me, I was devastated. Not only did she get the kids, but the child support and alimony amounts were made based on last year's figures. I haven't actually seen any real income this year, despite the sweat equity I put into project after project. How the hell am I supposed to come up with $13,000 a month if my limited resources are sunk into the only single room I can afford at the extended stay La Quinta off the highway? The front door opens to the street, and sometimes there's knocking in the middle of the night. I fear for my life. When it's 3 a.m. and I'm trying to rock myself back to sleep, I get by with a little help from my friend, a microwaved hot dog. Sometimes I dip it straight into the room temp Frenches and lick off the condiment as I stare idly through the parted blinds and think about Shoshana and how that bitch doesn't even know what's coming. It's like that fun dip snack from when we were kids. Oh, well, how we have to grow up sooner or later. Microwaved hot dogs at 3 a.m. Now easier to pump out of your stomach when you pass out in the motel pool. They're just gonna get worse.
The depths of your depravity, Rob. I don't know how your mind gets there. Yeah, what you just said was more frightening than anything that happened on Hellraiser. Bar none.
I think I watched too much Assy McGee at like too young of an age.
Probably, but you know what I did is I imagined. You remember the part where Kirsty's in the hospital and then the wall opens and then there's that thing running down the hallway at her?
Yeah.
That was a hot dog just now in my mind. 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Man. Well, I
should
hope
we go
Bob,
should we go to worst offensive and then there he is.
Oh, there he is. Let's let Toby pops on.
I'm wagging.
There he is.
You get
Bob. Go ahead.
I had some kind of internet connectivity issue.
Well, I'm sure that won't continue because that would be stupid. We did Rob's ad read where he made me feel really miserable for the person that he described eating a hot dog at 3 a.m. at some La Quinta while his wife takes his kids and money away.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I think we could do Baba. You had a thought that got cut off about that cookie dialogue, and then we can get into worst production.
Yes.
It's okay. I forget, honestly. I was so frustrated by this internet connection.
All right, we're just gonna say that the Brandy here's a cookie little girl line was molesty. I think that's the word we're going for.
All right, and without further ado,
test number 4.
All right. The worst production this week is probably not what you were thinking. Basically, my tagline is the Cenobites were just straight up silly.
Yeah,
they were.
Like, so I watched the remake, and not that I didn't read the source material. I should have done a deep dive and read the source material. So Clive Barker was the director. And he was also the original author of the Hellraiser books, which were called Hellbound or something like that.
Right.
And the Cenobites were never main characters in the books, which they weren't in the movie either. But they also but they also weren't terrifying. They weren't scary. They weren't threatening. They were just silly. Like the chattering teeth, the chubby guy, the goth chick. I know goth wasn't a thing back in 1987, but she was goth. And then Pinhead, which was only scary if you had to watch Pinhead be formed, which they only did in the sequel.
Yeah.
Not to spoil anything for the.
That makes me want to watch the sequel.
It's fine because I'm never gonna watch it.
Yeah, and there were several sequels. So basically, people who are fans of the series tout the first movie as the best, the second movie is the second best, and the reboot in 2022 as the third best.
Okay.
And so I watched the reboot, and there was still barely Pinhead compared to the first two. It was about the same.
I feel like that the 70 that they achieved on Tomatoes was merely because of the cover art, including Pinhead.
Well, Pinhead wasn't even called Pinhead. Did you guys notice that?
That was probably like a fan name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pinhead was only called Pinhead in like the third movie, I think.
Right.
He was called the priest in the original story, and then again in the remake, only as the priest.
Yeah, so they really had, I guess, the alternate dimension demons that tortured you if you summoned them was the strength of the story. And the layout that they gave you, what they gave, the spread that they gave, full spread in worst movie ever made type Zeitgeist. It's the full spread. The full spread that we got did not live up to the idea of the movie, right?
Right.
I thought it was gonna be good because just like the blue light shining on Pinhead, like looking down at you from above.
Yeah,
was like an iconic and like I remember seeing trailers when I was a kid and being afraid of it. Going like, this must be fucking crazy.
I never wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
Same exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never wanted to watch it. I didn't watch it until I was an adult.
Yeah.
And then when I did, I'm like, this is really dumb.
It sucks.
So
Super.
I brought it to your attention.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for our service and watching this and ripping it apart like the flesh on that spinning barbed wire board.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that is, yeah.
Let's throw it to test number 5, the most offensive.
Don't call me faggot, Jew!
Eric, did you just say the F word?
Jew? No, he's talking about Kyle! Eric! Dude, you just said it again!
Stanley! Kenny!
What's the big deal? It doesn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope everyone, including you two, enjoy the bit where I do the alliteration gag as much as possible because I really went for it like every single time.
All right, I'm ready to type. Let's go.
You love it, so we love it.
Yes.
I love it, and I don't know whether you guys are sick of trying to figure out what the fuck I'm talking about.
No,
and I mean, you guys, you two, and the audience, but I'm going to go for it and then explain it if you don't laugh. So
okay.
It's like a mini game.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. This pod is a pod of mini games all strung together.
Yeah.
Number 1, putting your parliament out on the Persian. I feel like you guys can get that one.
Cigarette rug.
Yeah, like guy's dream home. It's Larry's dream home, and Julia is like not into it at all. So she spits her fucking cigarette out and then just puts it out on the ground of the house.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
You never do that unless you fucking hate where you're at, you know?
Yeah.
We didn't know yet that she didn't respect Larry. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
But speaking of which, the Frank fetish flashback featuring chin-chewing Frenches.
Yeah.
What the fuck was Frank doing? They go to make out and he eats her chin.
Yeah.
He does a lot of things. Let's just say that.
Frank is he's a catalyst.
While we're on the subject of Frank, can I give you my little rhyming fun one that I wanted to say?
Yeah.
Mummy Cummies.
Mummy Cummies.
Yeah,
he was covered in.
There's that one. He had, during like the second after the second, he had that just dripping down his cheek. It was weird, gross.
It is odd. Yeah. It's definitely odd.
Yeah.
Somebody should have given him a towel in that side room.
Yeah.
Oh God.
He does have to find a way to entertain himself when he's not murdering. So. Number 3, daddy condoning dude drooling all over drunk daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, I'm having too good a time to throw these people out with this kid trying to bang my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By getting her drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Number 4, calling daddy at 22.
Yeah. That was creepy.
That's more of a new thing, though. I have to say.
Yeah.
What, daddy being like sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not your daddy being sexy.
No.
Not your actual daddy.
That wasn't the case back in '87, though.
Yeah, but I also feel like your uncle calling himself your daddy is not sexy.
All right, if that's part of the deal, then yes, I agree.
Well, let's lump it all in.
Yeah.
All right.
Lumps.
Number 5.
Lumps.
Lumps. Future. Ball pin beating by bitch to British Bell End.
All right, you lost me.
She beat the. Yeah. Okay.
So Julia beat the British douchebag to death, but they had to make sure that he was a douchebag first.
Yeah.
So I call him a bell end because it's a British insult that they call each other, and they actually take that seriously.
Okay.
But you know the moment where he's like, "You're not going to turn back now on me, are you?" You know, like pressuring her into having sex, so it's okay that she kills him.
Exactly. Yeah.
But why even bother? You want her to be evil.
Yeah.
They should have made that guy a sympathetic character.
They should have made him nice.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, this might be the most offensive part of the movie, and it was downplayed by far, like way too much. Screaming spouse shouting "stop" should stop sex.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Totally should.
Yeah, it should. But Larry was all about it for a little while there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say that. Maybe I shouldn't even go here, but I can't say that I've ever found myself in a situation where I'm doing stuff and the word "stop" is being screamed at high volumes. But I bet you, if it was, it would probably, prevent me from going further out of pure guilt and shame and
somebody's getting an ice
and horror.
Somebody's getting an ice cream cone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting an ice cream.
I'll double down and say Larry loves lecherous loves making.
I like it.
Wow, was that on the fly?
It was on the fly, yes.
Wow, I almost spit out my beer. That was excellent. Boy, and I thought pouring over these for like 5 minutes each was hard work. And look at Bob making me look bad.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob Foolery.
Oh
no, Chris, I'm making you look good for inspiration.
Good point.
Imitation, the sincerest form of flattery.
That's right.
All right. Here's my last before I ask for mentions. Frank fiending for nourishing nectar of the niece.
Oh, God.
I left that for last for obvious reasons.
Because we'd be speechless.
Nourishing nectar of the niece. You've outdone yourself, Chris.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that one. So you guys agree then? That's offensive.
Yeah. Yes. Very.
Yeah.
My wording amplifying those effects, I think.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything?
I'm not talking to you for at least 2 more days.
Yeah. No, just because we've seen movies that are like more better at everything this movie has tried to do. I thought this movie felt kind of tame aside from what you had mentioned, Chris. Like, it's just
honestly
for something as shocking as people are saying in like the YouTube comments. It was people in the 80s acting like people in the 80s and some scary, spooky stuff.
Yeah, it was mostly the like, I don't know, half-cocked sexual undertones that were super offensive. There wasn't really anything about the scariness that offended me.
Yeah.
Right. Same.
I don't know. I guess maybe Pinhead like putting together the guy's face as like a puzzle in the beginning was almost like a little. I expected it to be a better movie when I saw that.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess I'm offended that in the first 3 minutes they gave me what I wanted, and then they went away from it for 80 minutes, and they gave me a touch of it at the end.
Further and further away from it, yeah.
Right, but that's personal and not global in terms of offensiveness.
True. Yeah. So it isn't there. Okay. Well, if we have nothing else, we'll move into test number 6, where I could take a break and listen to some clips.
Okay.
The worst acting.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Do you guys want to know about the Night of the Paper Hat?
Of course I do.
This is on the Hellraiser subreddit. It's just an expression that says this is a celebration because when we have a birthday party, you're wearing a paper hat.
Oh.
Probably just like a vernacular from a time that's not ours.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, nicely put there, Rob.
Stupid.
I'm very glad that we're throwing into the clips because I feel like I need to recover for having said what I said just before we threw it to test number 6. Why don't we start with some bad acting in the form of the clip on the lips?
Excuse me.
My lucky day.
Hi.
Do you want to buy a bed?
Not much. Dad.
Kirsty!
Hi.
Hello, sweetie. Come here. Here you go.
Oh, great.
This is a big house.
You like?
Me like.
Well, I'll give you the grand tour if we ever get this goddamn bed moved.
Is Julia here?
She's upstairs. Look, be gentle with her, okay? She hates moving.
Surprise.
Kirsty.
Okay, all right. I'll be nice. You get on with the grunt work and make myself some coffee.
It's a great idea. There's the kitchen.
Okay.
Is that your daughter?
Uh-huh.
Got her mother's looks.
Her mother's dead.
Oh.
So I guess he hates the moving guys. He just doesn't. He's like masking it until that particular point. He's like throwing them the beers. He actually really hates them, but he's still trying to keep it civil. Yeah. And then the guy like hits on his daughter, and he realizes it when the mother's looks line comes out, and he's like, "Her mother's dead."
He hits on the daughter while insulting the dead mom at the same time.
Right, exactly. But Larry does, the guy who plays Larry, who I know I've seen in something else. I could not figure it out. I went through his filmography and I couldn't find what I knew him from. Larry, I've seen before. I know I have.
He was the original bad guy in the first Dirty Harry movie.
Oh,
maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I couldn't, because I've seen Dirty Harry. Probably all of them in fucking film in high school. You know, they, film teachers like to tell you about the purpose of soundtrack. That's one thing that I noticed that people who are teaching you about film want to tell you is when you hear. That's probably not going to come through on the audio of the podcast, but you know that the duel's about to start, or here comes the good guy. I don't know why that's the thing, but you know what I mean. That was what I learned about the Dirty Harry franchise, was that they had a particular sound for each character that came in. So I know that I've seen at least the first couple Dirty Harry movies. Long-winded way of saying I've seen that guy. Couldn't figure that it was Dirty Harry. So thank you, Bob. That must have been it.
It when I first saw that, I'm like, oh shit, that's exactly where I know this guy from. And yeah, because I remember seeing the original Dirty Harry in my high school years or middle school years, and being freaked out by the villain because he was a psychopath.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch because I remember kind of enjoying it.
Yeah, the original was good. It was really a good movie.
I'm easy when it comes to westerns, though. Something about that like time period and style of movie making is just pleasing to my eye.
It was a good early 70s flick. I'd recommend it.
Okay, maybe not for the Good Movie Pod, but
no, not quite.
Okay, all right. Throwing it to another clip that starts with "Oh." This one is "Oh no."
She's like you. She's so damn polite.
Yeah? Meaning what?
Oh, I don't know. She's uptight and frigid.
I beg your pardon.
Huh? See, there you go. I beg your pardon.
Hey, we're not all frigid.
Oh, no?
Oh, no.
Oh, no?
Oh, no.
That's not what I heard.
Well, you must have been speaking to all the wrong people.
So really, that I guess this was our second instance of YouTube clippers only, but the audio was bad too, right? That was Gilmore Girls. Not to send you on a tangent, Rob, but that was Gilmore Girls speed dialogue right there, right? I mean,
yes.
That is bad acting when you don't know how to let the moment breathe, let the other actor get in their line without you chomping at the bit, you know, the way that I do to you guys while you're talking. And I apologize for that. But yeah, the dialogue back and forth could have been in worse dialogue, but was in worse acting instead, because when they make out, it to me was funny. They kiss, then they like look at each other like, do you like it? I like it. And then they kiss again, and then they do the same thing where they pull back and they're like, did you enjoy the second salvo in our salivating session? And then they go back in for a makeout and the camera pulls away and blah blah blah. Not a scene that I would have okayed for my movie, but hey, what am I? Some kind of movie director?
Right, exactly.
Why don't we throw it to another clip? We'll see what you guys think of Bastard.
Rory Gilmore's a whore.
Oh my God! Daddy! Daddy!
No, don't mourn him. He was dead long before we ever touched him.
Bastard!
Oh, hush now. Everything's all right. Frank's here.
Bastard!
Your dear old Uncle Frank. What the hell is that?
Yeah. All right. So here's my problem. My biggest problem. It might be hard to believe that this is my biggest problem with the clip, but the word bastard has never hit hard for me. No. If anybody ever called me a bastard, I feel like I would just take it in stride, no problem. It doesn't matter how heated the moment was. Like if I'm about to get punched in the face and somebody called me a bastard, I think I'd laugh.
It's like it's a word in the dictionary. It's not like it's a blanket. Like there's like a definition and there's just like yelling it as an exclamation, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, it's you don't know enough about me to insult me proper, so you're just calling me a bastard or a fuckface or
Well, it sounds bad. It sounds bad, and then the actual definition of the word is also not very insulting. It's like I had nothing to do with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
true.
Right. So it just like when she screams that at him the first time, I'm like, okay, like bring something harder. You know, like you're not damning him to endless torture and hell yet with that comment. So bring something else. And then she says it again, and I'm like, oh God, give me a break.
Yeah.
But this is after her. It sounds like I was laughing just before we introduced the clip, and it sounded like my laughter continued as she started panting, screaming, or whatever what she was doing. It didn't sound like she was afraid at first. It sounded like she was laughing almost.
Not to mention, this is the climax of the film.
It is the absolute climax, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I sat there watching it like, whoa. That was
right.
That was
Bob,
the extent of my reaction.
I felt like I didn't allow you to say something there, and I apologize. Was there something you wanted to?
No, not for this clip. No.
Okay, good. Well, we have one more that I think you might have some interest in. This one's called Mad Dog.
I need to talk to you.
Of course. It's okay, baby. Julia told me everything.
Oh, no. See, your brother Frank is upstairs. He's upstairs and he's trying to kill you. He's gonna kill you.
No, wait. Whatever Frank did was unspeakable. It's unspeakable. But believe me, it's finished with now.
Why is it finished?
He's gone.
What does gone mean?
He's dead, Kirsty.
He was insane, baby. A mad dog. I had to put him out of his misery. Jesus, what a scene.
I think I figured out what I hate about this movie, or why it's not good.
He was insane, baby.
You see all the monsters up front, so like the fact that like that was like Frank kind of wearing like a Larry suit, like it'd be creepier if Larry just started acting a little weird towards the end of the second act, and you didn't know why he was acting weird, and then it was revealed later. Whereas like you see like the seams on his human suit, like
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and his hands look like ham fists. You know,
Yeah.
like by the third act, it was like it was so obvious that he was wearing a skin suit.
Yeah.
I don't know who the chick is that plays Kirsty, but I think she's awful.
Yeah.
And I don't think the guy Larry does too well in that scene either.
No.
Like, I guess I'll leave it at that.
And no one's mentioning, and this is all I wanted to say. I hate to put this in worst acting, but best acting, I want to give to Claire Higgins, who played Julia, the older, other woman. When
we haven't said much about her, but I will. I promise.
Right,
I have
because
some theories on her.
when she first killed her first victim, she convincingly, in my opinion, played someone who just killed someone for the first time. I'll have to say, I was very impressed with her acting. And then, of course, I did a deep dive in her acting, and she's like Shakespearean trained, theater, experienced actress. She's good.
She portrayed like the glazed over, like, oh, that just happened look, while still trying to like get out of the situation, remaining lucid. So like that, like it was convincing.
I thought she did a great job. Like compared to everyone else in the movie, I thought she was the only one who I was like, wow, she's good. Like I even texted you guys saying like, don't be fooled by the first act, because the first act is when she does her first kill. And then after her first kill, it all goes downhill.
Yeah.
Well, as is evidenced by what we've presented so far for why this movie is so bad, she has hardly come up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And for reasons. That reason number one being she portrayed the character really well. I completely agree.
Yeah.
But everyone else is just terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Awful.
Yeah. Start to finish, every single character.
Yeah.
Why don't we go to Fact or No Fact?
The worst movie ever made presents Fact or No Fact. All right.
All right. Fact or no fact this week, I just aptly called Hell.
Okay.
Because this movie was.
Absolutely.
So I am challenging the two of you and the listening audience to discern fact from no fact.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, starting with the first line. Barker, that would be Clive Barker, the author. He found the original puzzle box in an antique shop, and that inspired the writing of the original book.
Okay.
Okay. Second, the actress who played Julia, that's the one I was just talking about. was the only British lead cast member in a primarily British produced movie, because Clive Barker was British. Pinhead had much larger role in the stories, but budget constraints and a very lengthy makeup routine made it too expensive. But eventually they made up for it in later movies. But he was originally a much larger part of the stories. Okay, fourth, an early British industrial band called the Throbbing Gristle provided the score for the film. Throbbing Gristle. Just wanted to put that out there. Okay. And last, the actor that played Larry suggested the line "Jesus wept" right before he was torn apart, rather than the scripted line that was just "fuck you."
Okay.
Those are my line. Those are my
Okay.
my selling points. Go for it.
I'm gonna eliminate the ones I don't think are correct. And normally I lead with what I think it is, but I think number 3, Pinhead had a much larger role, but budget and makeup made it too expensive. That makeup was not that amazing. He was blue and had like a grid and fake nails, so I don't believe that. Puzzle piece, antique shop. I could see that because people are inspired by like inanimate objects, but I think in this case, this is just like it's believable, but I don't think it's true for this. I think Jesus wept I think that was scripted, because wasn't Pinhead supposed to be like a preacher or whatever? It makes sense. But fuck you would have been way more badass. But I'm gonna eliminate that. I want to say I've heard the name Throbbing Gristle. If they ran the same like gamut that like KMFDM and other like European industrial acts, I could see that like being like a breakthrough for them, like scoring the film. And if it just because it's British written if it takes place in the States, I think it did take place in the States. I think the cars all had steering wheels on the left, right? Were there any cars? I'm trying to think of was it set in the States or was it set in England? I'm confused.
This was set in the States.
It's set in, so if it's set in the States, you wouldn't have a bunch of British people on the cast. So that's believable because, I'm gonna say Throbbing Gristle is the fact. Throbbing Gristle provided the film score.
Okay, I'm between the Jesus wept line and the Clive Barker puzzle box. I really like the puzzle box. Bob, can you repeat fact number 2, or so-called fact number 2, the Claire Higgins fact, please?
The actress who played Julia was the only British lead cast member in a primarily British produced movie.
Okay, thank you. Lead. That could be true. Damn. But why would that be so interesting? I feel like Barker's puzzle box is the right answer, but if he wants to give himself as much credit as he does by putting his name on the movie as well, he probably doesn't. He's not the kind of guy who wants to be like, oh, I was inspired by something I saw, and that can be the whole idea.
Oh, because you're thinking that you're thinking that he wants people to think that he thought of it himself. He wasn't inspired by it.
Yeah, not inspired.
Okay.
It just it was all a passion, like a passion project for him. Yeah. I'm going with the Barker puzzle box anyway.
All right. So Pinhead was actually not barely like in anything in the story.
Right.
It was actually I forget the name of the character. It was the chubbier of the Cenobites.
Oh, okay.
Was originally the lead of the Cenobites.
All right.
But because the makeup and prosthetics were so thick, he couldn't say any lines, so they actually made him more of a subordinate in the movie.
Okay.
Understood.
Same with the Chatterbox, by the way.
Right.
Okay.
Julia was far from the only British person. Larry and his daughter were the only non-British actors.
Okay.
Everyone else was British. What's his name? What was Larry's brother's name? Frank. Frank's lines were all dubbed because he was English, and they wanted to make him look American. So they dubbed
No
him.
kidding. I can see that now.
Yeah. And his what do you call that? Skinless Frank was a completely different actor. Also English.
Took me back to the ad read.
Pip.
Skinless Frank.
Speaking of skinless Franks.
Skinless Frank. All right. Let me think. Jesus Wept was originally Fuck You.
Yeah. Okay. So
and Larry's that was the fact. Larry I didn't want to rat either of you out earlier in the other one because you both picked wrong answers. But Robin Gristle is an actual British industrial band.
1975. And
I suggest checking them out because they're not that bad.
No, that's Eurotrash. Yeah, the Eurotrash industrial stuff's fun, dude.
Yeah, they were not part of the soundtrack. And the puzzle box, I made that completely up. The puzzle box was designed by the production designer of the movie. It was a complete fabrication by Clive Barker.
Right.
Well, as I had said, I was between the two, and I went with the puzzle
I know.
box. Even though I had a reason why Clive Barker would not use it, and I just mad at myself.
Yeah, you should be.
I'm mad at you too, Chris.
Yeah,
I had faith in you. I thought you were gonna get it. I was rooting for you.
I really thought I was there, but I wasn't. I was somewhere else.
Yeah.
All right, let's throw it to the catch-all. So sad.
We're only asking you to pick up what we're throwing down because you're not catching it in the first place. Welcome to the catch-all.
Funny as it happens, the first thing I wrote was Clive Barker is clearly very proud of this project for some reason.
He is. Yeah. He really is.
And the audience apparently agrees that he should be. Do candles provide anything other than light for rituals? This has always befuddled me.
Well,
I never understood that.
Well, with the movie we're talking about next week, which I'll drop the title at the end of this episode, we'll have the candle debate at length next week.
Oh, no, yes.
Okay, this is all foreign to me, but I'm excited for later.
The worst movie ever made.
I started watching it earlier.
Okay, I don't even know what we're talking about yet. I think I do a little bit because decisions were made.
Yeah.
I just I'm in the fog machine. There are fog machines in this movie.
Yes.
It is incredibly obvious.
Fog machines in this podcast.
Yes.
Why didn't they go with the dry ice? Dry ice looks way better for fog.
Yeah, maybe this movie is the reason they know that now.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna ship dry ice to all 3 locations so we can have it running for the next podcast.
Please, that'd be great. Skin rips in this movie look awful.
Yeah.
Oh, really awful.
They don't
like
look
model
like
magic, model magic over like red Play-Doh.
So I watched
the
reboot in 2022, and I was expecting a whole lot of skin ripping and hooks, and everything's off screen. So I'll give the original credit for at least trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I think off-screen. I think the off-screen stuff is scarier sometimes because it leaves it to your imagination.
It can be, not in this case though. Trust me.
Here's a trope for you: all the bug gross out tropes.
Yeah.
Just another way to make you feel icky, I guess, when you leave the theater.
Yeah.
The old electricity magic bad graphics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I hate this shit.
Yeah.
It was true in Masters of the Universe, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Something that they rely on way too heavily. Here's another trope. The moving men were pervy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of the moving men, all I could see, because I've seen Friends a lot, is they're trying to get the mattress upstairs, and Larry's screaming, "Pivot!
Yeah.
Pivot!" yeah, that's actually a really funny episode of Friends. So
I'll give Friends credit for that. That was
yes, it was really fun.
couch.
That's what it does.
All right, so bear with me here. The house has a Cobweb cardiovascular blood vessel revival system.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Cobweb cardiovascular
blood vessel revival system.
All right, thank you.
But I don't understand why. They don't explain why this house in particular has this mechanism installed.
Yeah.
It's future.
I'm tired of horror movies always taking place in old houses. I told this to Stacy, and she said I just don't watch enough horror movies. But like, I would love to see just like a clean, new development,
modern
apartment.
house. Yeah,
and just like the same shit happening. Like, you know,
it'd be cool.
Why
though,
is it gotta be old?
If Alexa was like, "There's a ghost behind you."
Yeah,
there's a ghost behind you.
You need to watch the new Invisible Man.
Okay,
I did.
I will do that.
It's awesome.
Okay, it wasn't bad.
All right, Chris, it was great.
Wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. Hey, I'm a fan of Peg from Mad Men. I really like her. I wanted to love it. I liked it.
I liked it. All right, I'm with you.
I said next. Oh, 80s claymation.
Yep.
That's all.
You always call it claymation. I guess it is. There was some, right?
There was some. I feel like when his body was coming back together and the skeleton demon dragon.
You just mean like stop motion, right? Just
Stop
like the,
motion.
Yeah.
Stop motion claymation. Yeah.
I will call it stop motion.
All right.
There was also some. I read this. The forming of the blood up was actually filmed by fake blood pouring down through nail
Reverse
holes.
it. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, which not surprising,
Yeah.
but at least they were trying.
Yeah.
Sure. Old skinless Frank is too ballsy by peeking out of doors and hanging out in hallways.
Yeah.
Way too ballsy.
Yeah, for sure. And we're not sure whether or not he has a scrotum to cover those dangling
big swinging Frankie
you
bricks.
went there.
Cable connected testes with no scrotal protection.
Yeah.
Very scary situation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be moving at all if that were the case for me.
Yeah.
What's with Gordon's fisherman homeless cricket eating stalker guy?
They never resolved that, did they?
They sort of tied a bow on it, but it was a ridiculous, stupid, doesn't really make sense for the story bow.
Yeah, I did a little bit of a deep dive on that, and you're right. I'm just gonna go with Chris and say they did not appropriately tie a bow on that.
Yeah, this whole movie made me feel like there was a director's cut that was an hour longer.
Sure. Yeah, unfinished business for sure.
Yeah.
There was some budgetary issues where the closing scenes had to be cut in terms of effects. So the closing scenes were weaker because of the budgetary restraints.
All right.
We've seen that before on the pod.
We have.
The blood-soaked sheets that was kind of a cool effect.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
To give the movie a little bit of credit. I wouldn't really want to bang a stranger in their rat-infested renovation room.
Yeah.
No. Definitely not.
That's just me. If you are bringing me home from the bar and you have a bedroom, but instead you decide to bring me into the room that looks like, Macaulay Culkin's uncle's house from Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
Like, I'm probably not, for fear of falling through the floor, I'm probably not gonna engage.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just that's just me.
It's just me.
Speaking of structural errors, that's not what rib cages look like.
No.
Yeah.
That was a ridiculous looking rib cage.
You couldn't even play xylophone on that.
No, you really couldn't.
No.
Yes, our teeth and ambitions are bad. When Julia covered victim number 3 with a coat to disguise the body, and then she moved it to another room, I died laughing.
That was funny. Yeah.
Doesn't she turn the corner and Larry? She's like, whoa.
Yeah, she's trying to hurry up through the hallway. But why? I don't know why, because she did cover it in her coat that barely covers half the body.
I was waiting for her to turn and like run through the door, but he was like too wide from head to toe and just drop him.
Like a dog with a stick in his mouth that can't get through the door.
Exactly. And it was funny that Larry just kept looking left and right and never looking up the stairs to see the body.
Yeah, seriously. There was a speaking of friends, there was a sound barrier somehow in the hallway where like people didn't hear each other speaking from one floor to another.
Yeah, the dilemma of Fraser's kitchen. Where they're talking loudly about somebody 3 feet that way.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Julia's hair is a perfect summation of why I absolutely despise the 80s.
Yeah, but what about like the Jane Fonda stuff?
No, none of that. I will have none of it. All right. If it looks like you're wearing a Lego helmet and that's your hairstyle, I'm not attracted to you.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Just period.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Larry's pastel squares sweater.
Classic.
Yeah.
Oof. Why hasn't Larry ever looked in the room before they lead him into it? You have a room of the house that you're paying for, and you've literally never gone in it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd just be curious as to what that room looks like at some point.
Yeah.
If I own it.
Yeah, I'm hoping you hit a point that I'm thinking of. Go for it.
Why are there rats nailed to the wall?
Oh, I'm glad I didn't ruin it. Yes, exactly. What the fuck was that about? So I read that one of the countries that this movie was trying to be released in, it was banned in that country specifically for that scene.
Because there were rats nailed to the wall for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. And that when they took that scene out, the movie was allowed in. I forget which one it was.
Hey, look, I guess if you're Frank and you're bored of giving yourself facials, you got to find something.
Frankie facials.
He also likes cutting rats in half out of jealousy as he hides in the closet.
Yeah. Imagine.
I'm glad that made it in.
Imagine
what the fuck?
Imagine that being just like you're a regular guy, like you're like high school or college age. You have a crush on some girl, and like some other guy, like you're like watching some guy like pick her up for a date, and you immediately just run back to your house and saw a rat in half. That's the only way you can process your jealousy.
Why is the nurse watching the nurse watching a flower bloom on television in the hospital?
Oh, that's hilarious.
You know what?
I don't know. It's very David Lynch.
I was about to say there's one thing I'll give this movie credit for is like they had these little like surreal dream sequences,
little vignettes
that were pretty cool.
Okay,
that's all.
Fair enough.
They're pretty cool.
I like how the doctor says that you're gonna have to explain the cube to the cops.
I know. When I first saw that, I'm like, why the cops suddenly have interest in someone that just was found on the street?
We found 9 dead men in this house. You're going to have to talk to us about this cube downtown.
Totally insane. The wall and the wall monster it was just unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that the Cenobites dropped Kirsty off at home. Like, all right, we'll be back in a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure you like they wait till she walks in and closes the door, like when you like drop a date off. Like, you wait till they get in safely and then you drive away.
All right.
She's
Either
okay.
way, why would Frank steal the skin? I thought that he drained body energy from his victims. This implies that he didn't have to be skinless after victim number 1.
Yeah, I thought he would. Yeah, he eats them and then he generates his own based off their like plasma
Right,
or
but
whatever.
if he steals Larry's skin, that means he could have stolen the first victim's skin and worn that.
I think he's stealing from the inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's implied. Is that
it's implied, but it was never said exactly.
Yeah.
If you have one victim and like you're just like, okay, I'll put the organs on, but I won't try the meat on the bones.
Yeah.
Like it should be forming because like it's implied because of the cardiovascular revival system in the home that it is somehow a magical quality that it grows from within his soul out.
Yeah.
When he sucks up blood and life force and whatever.
I hope this episode is making people rewatch this movie.
Yeah, I hope so because it fucking sucks.
This episode's making me in the clear to never have to watch it again. So, yeah.
Yes. So it is implied that Frank feels pain, correct?
Yeah.
Right. At first.
Why would he would be in constant agony?
Yes,
Like-
but see, the pleasure and the pain are indiscernible after a certain point.
Oh, so
Chris.
it makes sense now. So if he jerks off enough, he can survive it.
Yeah. I mean that's life, isn't it? Isn't that? Like, all I know is like if you, there's not a day that can't be conquered by a couple nuts. You know.
Now we know what Rob means by microwaving the hot dog at 3 a.m.
It's just a euphemism for beating it.
Oh no, I missed it. Okay.
I get it now. Frank does quite a Larry impression, I thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like he takes on the skin, all of a
saggy.
sudden his voice
Yeah.
is the same.
Yeah.
Falling Jesus jump scare actually got me when the Jesus statue fell out of the dresser or whatever. I didn't see that coming. And Aaron was saying, imagine if Kirsty had yelled Jesus at that point to be kitschy.
Jesus. That would be good.
Sucking the life energy out of Julia ought to have fixed his face, right?
Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah, he like kills Julia and sucks her life out. But maybe because he skipped this step and put the skin suit on, he can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong to him.
Right.
There was a maggot-mouthed body that fell that was legitimately gross. Actually, did bother me.
Yeah.
That was gross. Yes.
Yeah. With the skin hooks at the end, pain. The fat Cenobite should have started a happy ending session, I thought.
Yeah.
Because again, it was not clear that there was any pleasure mixed in with the pain. I just thought it'd be really funny when the Cenobites went over there and started.
See, the way they talked about it, I thought it would be more like the guy from Michael Hutchins from NXS. He just like the belt didn't undo when the deed was done.
Okay, the autoerotic
autoerotic fixation. Yeah.
The yellow electricity.
New sensation. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. The yellow electricity death of the Cenobites was really funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fat Cenobite dies the hard way. AKA the ceiling falls on him, leaving evidence of another dimension.
Yep.
You call him you call him a fat Cenobite. It's body shaming. It's body shaming.
I keep thinking Cinnabon, so it works.
Well, no, it was a way of to differentiating him from the others. I should say the plus size Cenobite.
The fatter Cenobite.
Leaving evidence of another dimension.
The much heavier
Cenobites are beautiful at any size.
The Charlotte Ruse Cenobite.
The Cinnabon Cenobites.
The Cinnabon Cenobites. Kirsty being like, no, only I know how to operate the cube to her boyfriend. To me was really funny because I don't know where she got the expertise, but she was sure that she could figure it out and he couldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just an FYI, sadism does not pay. This feels like satanic panic bullshit. This whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like the Reefer Madness equivalent.
Yes,
Yeah,
it really
essentially,
was.
Yeah,
It really
for sure.
was.
How do we know the cube will burn?
Well, we don't.
We don't.
It's
so the
sequel fodder.
It is
Sequel fodder, yes.
So the old man that I was talking about, the Gordon's fisherman, homeless guy,
Yeah,
right,
is actually a skeleton demon dragon at the end.
Right.
All right.
You
Rob's
had to know.
alternate ending.
Yeah.
Or you can do this, or you can do that, or you can do this, or you can do that, or you can do this, or you can do that. Just pick one.
Not so much an alternate ending, but like, wouldn't it be funny if instead of a puzzle box, it was like a Nintendo GameCube, and it was just like some 15-year-old kid, just like he hit the right alignment, and then a bunch of hooks come out of his TV and just rip him into millions of pieces right when his mom's opening the door to give him Hot Pockets.
Oh my God, yes.
That's all I got.
I like that.
Okay.
Just to see the explosion of his crispy, crusty, tender flaking crust.
He's just like, yeah, he's like playing Crash Bandicoot. He's like, Jesus, wait.
Oh, okay. Then bad credit names.
Yeah. Bad credit names. Bad credit names. Bad credit names. Yeah.
Waldo Bogue.
Okay.
Ping Moody.
Okay.
Oh.
One of the actors at the table at the night of the paper hat. This should not have made my list for obvious reasons. It just seems like a hard name to live with. And I'm sorry. Okay, don't cancel me. Gay Barnes.
Ouch.
I'm a big Electric Six fan, and they have that song, I Want to Take You to a Gay Bar.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah. I am aware of this.
Gay Barnes.
Naal Buggy.
Okay.
Dick Dumblebee.
Actually good.
And Little John.
Seriously?
Like
yeah,
the,
probably not the rapper.
Like the producer, yeah.
Right.
The rapper.
It's the producer,
songwriter.
yes. Little John, the producer, was on the producing team.
Wow.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. This week, we're going to do the offensive minigame now, so we can just go through the results. How's that sound?
I like it.
We'll see how that format feels.
All right.
Okay. Anaconda versus Hellraiser. Starting with the defending champion, of course, gets the honors. J-Lo going gigolo or Niece Nectar Num Num.
Niece Nectar Num Num.
Niece. Totally.
That's fucked up.
Improper Indians or proceeding to pressure partner post plea.
Post plea pressure.
Perceiving to pressure partner post plea.
That's the
Is it Anaconda?
No,
that's
Improper Indians is Anaconda.
Yeah. Chris is talking about when she's yelling stop and he's continuing.
Yeah, but Improper Indian seems like the way to go for me.
Well, Bob wants the bonus round.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay. Rape or accidentally calling Southern Americans Indians. Take your pick. Okay. Bonus round. We'll flip them. So we'll go Hellraiser first here. Frenching the face's foreground. That's or the Cholo scowl.
For offensive is Cholo scowl.
Cholo scowl.
I agree. Sending this one Anaconda's way. Now we know. So let's figure out the rest of the tests as we move to the movie comparison.
Nothing compares.
Okay, Anaconda versus Hellraiser. We know for sure Anaconda won the first test with a negative 32.4 and worst of its kind, compared to negative 17.8 and worst of its kind for Hellraiser. However, we have been reading the machine's printout completely wrong these past couple seasons. Turns out, the higher the score, the worse the movie. Therefore, Hellraiser has won the second test with a 4-star pitch from Bob, as opposed to Bob's previous victory with Anaconda's 3.33. Nice job, Bob. Bob and Rob killing it on the pitches lately.
Yeah.
I leave it to you both to tell me what you thought was worse from a dialogue standpoint, Anaconda or Hellraiser.
Oh shit!
Fuck,
In my opinion, Anaconda was worse for a dialogue.
The only reason I'm going to go with Bob on that is because there are more well-known people in the field of acting in Anaconda that have been. I might be wrong because I don't know the time, like the 87, but I just feel but I think Anaconda is like these people have had chops in other movies that were filmed around the same time, and they didn't deliver in Anaconda. So I say Anaconda is worse acting.
I also agree. Well, dialogue. We're on dialogue.
Yeah.
This is dialogue, Rob.
I'm thinking, yeah. Then no, I'll say Hellraiser has worse dialogue. Anaconda has worse acting. I'll go with.
Okay. Well, I agree that Anaconda's. I felt like Anaconda's dialogue had more work to do than Hellraiser's. Hellraiser just had to have so-so dialogue, and the movie would have not suffered as much.
Yeah.
Anaconda needed the dialogue to be good to push it through to make it a better movie, and they couldn't hit that bar, and it suffered more from the bad dialogue, I think, than Hellraiser did.
All right.
So the Hellraiser, being a English produced movie and directed movie, had more Shakespearean trained actors who went on to do.
So not silver screen. Okay.
Yeah, they were very, very Shakespearean trained, and the dialogue was horrible.
Yeah,
which is why it got my vote. And I'm gonna go opposite Rob.
All right.
So dialogue in Anaconda's favor.
Yeah.
What's worse, CGI? What the fuck, or silly Cenobites? I think silly Cenobites. Personally,
I think silly Cenobites.
It's the crux of the entire movie.
Make it a clean sweep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the climax of the film was just funny.
It really was.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Honestly. Acting.
Anaconda. Yeah, well, that's what I was saying earlier. Just because, at least for silver screen, not for Shakespeare, these are people that have had chops in the world of cinema that didn't do a great. John Voight, like I'm sure, has some accolades in his career, and
I feel like Julia, as much as I like Ice Cube, Julia did an amazing job in Hellraiser, and as much script shit as she was dealt with, she did an amazing job.
Yeah, I had no issues with her at all.
She should push it. She should push it over because
she was good.
John Boyd, at the very least, should have been that
baby bird.
Yeah, he should have been better.
Yeah, and he wasn't. So we agree. So really, there is a demerits section here. Doesn't really matter. I wrote not scary. Hellraiser. It's a horror movie that didn't frighten me in the least.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like there was. It's not even because it's dated. Because I've seen like The Exorcist was 73, 74.
Terrifying.
Fucking terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Terrifying.
So like it's not even like the fact that I'm just like looking at it through the lens of like the gore that we see today or the scariness we see today. It just wasn't. If I saw it as a kid, like all the years I'd not watched this movie because I thought Pinhead was fucking terrifying from that like trailer I saw. I wish I just watched it when I was younger and got it over with. Because now I'm more self-aware and I had to sit through it at 34.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, well, that said, the demerit for Anaconda was the pacing, because Bob had brought up last week that if it wasn't CGI, WTF, or production, it would have been pacing. So we we plugged that into the demerits. But I think the pacing is less of an error than being not scary as a horror movie. Still, Anaconda wins by a score of 4-3.
Ouch.
I wanted Hellraiser to win because I hated it so much.
Yeah, it's fucking awful.
Yeah, but I hated Anaconda more.
Yeah.
Anaconda was worse, I think. I think the science bared truth fruit.
I'll make peace with it. I think it's
baby bird.
Baby bird.
So again, we don't know what we're watching for next week, but check out the poll. It'll be up in the next couple of days. and we will determine what has already apparently been determined for me. Rob, why don't you tell us what we're watching next week?
Hocus Pocus 2. Electric Boogaloo. I found a copy. It's on the drive for your viewing pleasure. Have you seen it yet, Chris?
Yeah, my wife wanted to watch it, so I watched it with her, and I didn't take notes, which means I have to watch it again. And
probably a third time to get all the clips and like all the different. Maybe like you might go in like 4 viewings on this, huh?
This the what I thought was actual depression before has only been pushed aside by my more enlightened version of what is actual depression that just sunk in. There was a long pause there where I think it actually, the depression of the science experiment that we're doing and torturing our own brains.
Rock bottom is like a new couch. You get comfortable on it, and then once you think you're at the baseline lowest, you sink down a little bit further.
It turns out you were laying on a couch in the renovation room of Skinless Frank. And you fall one floor further into hell. Hocus Pocus 2.
So, the worst movie ever made.com. Hocus Pocus 2. Please go on our socials. Go to theworstmovieevermade.com. We had a lot of fun with Steven Seagal movie trailer posters, and we're not doing games, but like it's like if you want to submit a funny Photoshop or a very poorly done Photoshop, we'll share it on our stories, and we're just trying to like engage a little bit, and it's fun making them. So
listen to the sounds of throbbing gristle.
Yes, and I see Chris is spinning around in a trance, so I'm gonna play the theme song. Bye, thank you.